They were 500 men deep in enemy territory. Only 200 would walk out alive. Cut off, surrounded, no food, no medicine, and the enemy was closing in.
This wasn't just a battle. It was a slow, cold execution.
October 1944, the Vosges Mountains. A trap snapped shut on the 1st Battalion.
The enemy was invisible. They hid in the mist, waiting for a mistake.
Support tanks tried to break through. They were turned into burning coffins.
Major Dalka screamed for artillery support, but the radio only offered static.
Day 2, the perimeter shrank. Every yard lost cost 10 lives.
Bandages ran out first, then the water, then the hope.
Then, the unthinkable happened. The American artillery finally fired, but they missed.
The shells didn't hit the Germans. They hit us. Friendly fire. Stop! You're killing your own men!
But the radio was dead.
The rescue force thought they were clearing a path. They were digging graves. Thirst became worse than the shelling. Men crawled for the creek.
The water was a trap. One sip cost a life.
Day 3. Rations were gone. They ate tree bark and leather straps. Minds broke before bodies. The silence was louder than the guns.
The Germans grew tired of waiting. They brought a new horror. The air turned hot. The smell of gasoline filled the trench. Then, the forest didn't just break, it started to melt.
The heat fused men to their rifles. The line broke. Chaos reigned.
The perimeter collapsed. They were squeezed into an area the size of a football field.
The Germans sensed blood. They launched a massive wave to finish it.
Command knew they were dying. They had one last card to play. Air support.
But the wind betrayed them. Every single crate drifted into enemy hands.
Hope didn't just die. It was stolen.
They were Japanese Americans, fighting for a country that had put their families in camps.
The mission was suicide. The enemy held the high ground. The terrain was a vertical death trap.
They didn't hesitate. They charged straight up the mountain into the teeth of the guns.
The Germans unleashed hell. The MG-42s cut the forest like a scythe.
It wasn't just bullets. The trees exploded into wooden shrapnel. Nowhere to hide.
The attack stalled. For every yard gained, the 442nd paid in blood.
But they refused to stop. Go for broke wasn't just a motto. It was a promise.
Corpsmen! Just as they breached the line, Hi Joel, down, the mountain erupted.
The dust settled. They weren't dead.
They charged, not away from the fire, straight into it. The Banzai charge began.
The German line was solid steel. The 442nd shattered it with bare hands. The enemy bunkers were strong, but they weren't grenade-proof.
They reached the crest. The impossible ridge was theirs. The enemy ran.
Day 5. The wall was breached. The path to the Lost Battalion was open.
They saved 200 men. But when they looked back down the hill, the cost was absolute. They met in the smoke, the starving and the bleeding. No cheers, just silence.
211 men walked out. They looked like skeletons draped in rags. The mountain took its toll. Even leaving was a battle against the mud.
Weeks later, the general ordered a parade. He wanted to review the heroes.
From the mud of France to the lawn of the White House, the survivors were summoned. But while the medals shined, the soldiers remembered the truth back home. In America, there were no parades. Their families were still behind barbed wire.
Irony tasted like ash. But the war wasn't done with them yet.
Italy, the Gothic Line, the last German fortress blocking the invasion.
The Germans didn't even guard the cliff. They said only a bird could fly up there.
Command gave the order.
Don't attack! Climb!
Tonight, they would touch the sky. 8 hours. Darkness. One slip meant death in silence.
Don't look down. The abyss was waiting for a single mistake.
Their fingers bled. Their muscles burned. But they didn't stop. The Germans were watching the valley. They never looked behind them. Like ghosts, they rose from the earth. The trap was set.
Total surprise! The morning silence shattered.
It wasn't a battle. It was a raid. The fortress fell in minutes.
The unbreakable line was broken. They had done the impossible.
The mountain shook. The tank didn't warn them. It just erased the ridge.
Nowhere to run! Behind them! The cliff! In front of them! 88 millimeters of death! Take cover!
Physics was the enemy. The Germans had the height. The Americans were sitting ducks. Bullseye. The track snapped. The beast was crippled, spinning in circles.
They didn't wait! They swarmed the steel monster! Grenades went down the hatch!
The giant fell. The ridge was silent again. Just the crackle of fire.
They thought it was over. They thought they could rest. Then the radio clicked.
Command to K Company. The order came through. Good work.
May 1945. Silence finally fell. The guns stopped. But the cost was etched in stone. 9,000 Purple Hearts. For a unit of 4,000 men. They bled more than any other.
Today, the forest is quiet. But if you look closely, the trees still bear the scars. The Lost Battalion was saved. The 442nd proved that loyalty isn't about the shape of your eyes.
It's about what you're willing to sacrifice. They gave everything for a country that doubted them.
Freedom isn't free. It's paid for by the lost.